God level, you can tell him I said it. Level up. God level, you can tell him I said it. Level up. God level, you can tell him I said it. Level up. Level up. Level up. Go.
What happened to everything?
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. I was waiting to start singing that. Like, yeah. Oh my God.
Well, let's keep it going.
All right. That's fine. Shook it. Let me go on over. This is things that people don't want to talk about. Brought to you by God Level. I am originally from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm a mother. I'm a nurse. I'm a sister. I'm a friend. I'm an aunt. I'm a Gigi. I am everything good. Ivy, you want to go ahead and represent yourself?
What's going on, good people? It's your girl, Inattentive Ivy. You can find me on all social media platforms, speaking about my own journeys with ADHD and mental health. I'm a former military broadcast journalist, advocating for all of my hamsters. So if you got some hamsters too, we're going to talk about it. But we're going to keep it a buck because I like to share my accountability. You guys help keep me accountable. And as always, we're going to keep it a buck. Let's go.
That's what's up. John, you want to go ahead and represent yourself?
John Skywalker, the Sly Talker here. I'm a lyricist, spoken word artist, martial artist, personal trainer, lover of life, student of psychology, and I'm a husband. And I have 5 hip-hop albums. 5 hip-hop albums streaming on all major DSPs now. Look up John Skywalker. Look up John Skywalker. Look up who? John Skywalker.
King Newborn, you want to go ahead and represent yourself?
Peace. This King Newborn. You can follow me on all social media platforms at Newborn Everything, and I am that I am. Peace, love, and life, family.
That's what's up. Sherman, you want to go ahead and represent yourself?
My name is Sherman Vine, and I am here to listen, learn, and love. That's all I got.
It is always, yeah, that's it. That's it. Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is the month of May. The month of May for us is always Mental Health Awareness Month. This is something that we do every year without fail. Today we're going to talk about labeling. Then next week we're going to go into anxiety, then depression, and last but not least, at the end of the month, we're going to talk about suicide. A lot of these labels affect our community, and we are here to talk about them. All right, John, go ahead.
Yeah. So as it states, what does it mean to be diagnosed or misdiagnosed with a mental illness?
John be putting like several questions inside of one.
I love it.
Really? It's several questions inside. We just set the stage. We just set setting the tempo.
What does it mean to be diagnosed or misdiagnosed with a mental illness?
Yeah.
That means that you're not going to, if you're being misdiagnosed, you're not going to get the proper treatment for whatever is going on with you. When it comes to getting diagnosed with a mental illness, or if you feel like something is off with yourself and you are, go see one of us. I really would encourage you to see someone who understands the Black experience.
Okay.
I'm not trying to be funny. You will get a lot further than someone of another culture who is just going to go off a textbook. Okay. Say it, Ivy. Say it.
I am listening for the moment.
That was the moment. You was.
I was just looking. And I'm looking and agreeing in solidarity. That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
Cultural competence. That's what we're referring to right here. Cultural competence, right? Because so culture isn't just race, Like truck drivers have a culture, we're talking about subcultures, right? So we're just talking about a collection of beliefs, sometimes a little bit of ideology, but cultural competence involves being aware that this person has an identity that colors their experience, which also colors the expression of their mental disorders, if they have any, or even just their problem. You know, so it's all right. Yeah, I don't know what it's like to be a gay Latino in America, right? But some of your stress and some of your depression might come from those experiences.
Yeah.
And so a culturally competent mental health professional is going to acknowledge that as a variable, no differently than a mechanic is going to acknowledge, hey, what kind of windshield wiper fluid are you, or what kind of engine oil are you putting in here, right? It's a consideration that, hey, maybe this is stemming from this, and we can account for it properly and then give you the proper treatment based off of the facts. You know, so if we're talking about culturally competent mental health professionals, you know, you're also talking about individuals who are either outside of the culture learning or they're inside of the culture already advocating.
There you go.
Right.
You see how he just took what I said and just boom.
But here's the problem though. We don't have a lot of those just across the board, just mental health professionals, right? Because you know, I don't want to jump to the, you know, to the conclusion yet, but America is not really mental health focused. You know, like we don't invest a whole lot in our mental health structure here. And if you were to even do that, just, you know, put a few more billion there, you would dismantle a lot of these mental illnesses that are sprawling about. But also if you just did a war on poverty type of deal, you know, but that's something else. That's something else. We're not going to go there, right? But
that's the reason why I was quiet. That's the reason why I was quiet. I was like, oh, let's go ahead and talk about that, because like, what does it mean to be diagnosed or misdiagnosed with the mental illness in the Black community, in the Latino community, in the you know, Eastern Asian community? It means that it can be weaponized. You know what I'm saying? It can be weaponized, and that's the biggest thing that it means for people of color. You know what I'm saying? It's like you know, like let's just say you've got a Black man who's going to court. He's going to court because he's trying to get custody for his kid, right? And he is really expressing himself, or like, you know, like, because maybe this has just been a really overwrought situation, you know, but because of the fact that he's Black, he gets labeled as aggressive, or he gets labeled as he's oppositionally defiant, right? But if he was white, he gets labeled as, oh, he's just passionate. He's just passionate about his kid. You know what I'm saying? And it's labels like that that keep things that keep communities of color and marginalized communities just like in these spaces where they don't even want to approach institutions that have been put here that are supposed to be fair, you know? So being diagnosed or being misdiagnosed, man, you got people who won't even, I mean, they are literally suffering, but won't go and talk to anyone in a mental health field because they're like, I don't want this to be brought up against me. I don't want them to take my guns. I don't want them to say I can't get a job. I don't want to lose my kids.
Yeah. The implications.
It's a different world. It's a different world when you go and you get help. That control is gone.
What about you two brothers? What does it mean to be diagnosed or misdiagnosed with a mental illness? Any thoughts?
I'll jump. Well, I like I told you all before, I'll be learning a lot this go round. So I would speak from a patient's standpoint. To be diagnosed is scary because I would immediately think about my survivability, my livelihood, my family. I'm put food on the table if I'm diagnosed with something that can, not only my skin can keep me out, but now this can. I don't need more. And to be misdiagnosed would be, I would say, almost equally scary, because is something wrong? Have I been doing things right? How have my relationships been affected? Is there something else that's wrong? I have no idea.
So it makes you uncertain.
Completely uncertain in both ways.
Okay.
Completely uncertain in both ways. So
uncertain about yourself.
Everything. I would question absolutely everything, but it wouldn't be on the outside world anymore, and that'll be internally, which makes it more dangerous, I think. So yeah, that's me speaking from a patient standpoint.
Okay.
Okay.
King, you got anything?
No, I'm just paying attention, taking it all in.
All
Yeah,
right. All right.
yeah.
All right.
I would say being diagnosed with a mental illness, first off, it means uh, a mental health professional has identified a specific mental health condition. And we're talking about depression, anxiety, PTSD, schizophrenia.
Bipolar disorder.
And it's based off of a clinical evaluation, as in a clinical setting using tested instruments, psychometric instruments. It means that you've identified symptoms, expressions of behavior. It could be cognitive, emotional. And it also means using a standardized tool, something that's, like a metric. So, in psychological terms, DSM-5, I think is the latest, right? Um, it means validation. It can help individuals understand what they're experiencing. It gives you access to treatment. It can provide you with support resources, accommodations, extra time if you have PTSD, ADHD, extra time in college for testing, or shoot, even at work, just getting special assignments to accommodate your condition. Let's see, it means stigma risk. Stigma, being called crazy, people looking at you a certain way, fear mongering, prejudice. Misdiagnosed means that the condition is incorrect. So it could be the wrong disorder. It could be that the person doesn't even have the mental illness at all. So what that leads to is incorrect treatment. Being medicated or certain therapies that you're not supposed to have, but they gave it to you anyways.
Yeah.
It's emotional distress. I feel misunderstood. I'm just kind of going along, and you might be building up resentment about that. And then there's the stigma without justification. You've been mislabeled, misrepresented. You've been labeled, misrepresented, and that's affecting your identity. I think that's also what misdiagnosed means. Next question. What does it?
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
All right. Now, this is just something that you can Google. Misdiagnosis is a common problem for many Black Americans. For decades, studies show that Black men have been given psychiatric diagnoses that are incorrect, especially severe or less treatable. It's a phenomenon that goes back decades, and to this day, it is still prevalent within the Black community. So being misdiagnosed amongst our Black men is a problem. It really is. And I think Sherman just spoke on it, them labeling me as Ivy, the angry Black man, that emotion, how they look at Black men differently than they would a white person. So yeah, that's why I will encourage, to go and sit down and talk to someone of the same cultural background. There will be more understanding.
You're gonna have to search for it though, because certain areas, like if you're where I'm at, rural community, there are not that many Black mental health professionals in this area. And we're talking about thousands of people, and you might have between here and the next, 50 miles, you might have 10. You might. And so you think those 10 are going to service all of us? Imagine going to a restaurant, it's 2 people, and you got a line that goes all the way back 3 blocks. You got to service all these people. You're going to burn out. As a mental health professional, you're going to burn out. And that's going to make you less competent, even though you're culturally competent. But next question. What does it mean for mental health labels to be weaponized against marginalized communities, especially Black individuals? What does that mean?
You're not giving. It's not being fair. You're not giving a fair chance. It's not being fair. And you'll use that against you. Oh well, he's already messed up in the head.
It's erasure.
Oh wow. Yeah. Huh?
It's erasure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, you're erasing the complete autonomy of who somebody is just because of the fact that that they fit in a box without even understanding what that is. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's like it's the reason why it takes like Black girls so much longer to get diagnosed with autism. You know what I'm saying? Because Black girls don't have autism. It's the reason why when young kids have behavioral issues, like like whether they're Black or whether they're Latino, instead of taking in effect that maybe they're just in an environment that's kind of like that has like that crab in a barrel mentality, and they're not taking into account their culture. Oh, they're just automatically a discipline problem. They have BPD, they have ODD, things of that sort. You know what I mean? So it's like literally you put somebody in a box without giving them tools for healing besides medicine and besides just discipline. In that box, you're literally setting up somebody to live their entire lives in one way. And then instead of just weaponizing what it is that they're going through, they become the weapon themselves. And that's what can happen.
Okay. When you think about those behaviors, when you think about those attitudes, they ain't healthy, are they? We did a podcast about toxicity.
Man.
Right? So if it's toxic, it's weapon. It's a weapon.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Sherman. Go ahead.
I was gonna say a tool of oppression. Like they were oppressed and they're oppressing, and they're doing it without you having to give any more instructions, any more commands. They got it. They got the message.
So the machine does the work.
Well, we've been saying that for years, though. You know what I'm saying? We've been saying that for years. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. And I just want to point out. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Were you about to say something?
No.
You were cooking.
Not yet. I want to hear what you got to say.
I was just going to point out. There's nothing wrong necessarily with the box itself. Is what happens to it. Is what happens to the individuals who go inside of that box, and it's the professionals, it's the healthcare professionals, it's the school administrators, it's the employment. It's like the way the society is necessarily structured that keeps them oppressed inside of the box. That's what's wrong. It's like people just want to put you in a box, label you, and that's where the problem ends. But there is no hey, there's healing, there's grace that's within there. That's the problem that we have, because I mean, we already know that Black people in marginalized communities, we get health care at a diminished rate just in general. You know what I'm saying? So let's not even talk about mental health care. I mean, because that's like the throwaway. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not necessarily the box itself, it's what happens. It becomes weaponized when you go inside of the box and people just want to close the lid on it instead of saying, here are some things that can help you. Here are some things that can help you along. That's the reason why mental health can be detrimental to other people who don't understand culturally across the board, and also with other marginalized communities.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I
mean, I guess I would still speak as the patient, but I would definitely feel like the machine is working against me and me being a part of it. Sad to say. Because when you realize you've been a part of it for longer than you've been awake, sometimes that shit hurts.
Yeah. The betrayal.
Yeah. You feel like you've been fucking up, for lack of better word. Yeah, I would feel like the monster within the monster. So let's be speaking as a patient.
Damn, the monster within the monster.
Yeah, I relate.
What you got, King?
Ivy just broke it all the way down
For real.
and left
All
no
right.
crumbs,
All
baby.
right. I'll take one shot before we move
Hey,
on.
I give
Um,
flowers. Get it, girl. If you didn't know, you know now. And if you need to go back and rewatch it, yeah, do so because I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it. Damn. Okay, Sherman. Yeah, that monster inside of a monster. Damn. The betrayal of waking up and finding out that you've been a part of the problem.
mm.
Ooh, more than you've been awake of. Welcome to Sherman and Ivy show, ladies and gentlemen.
Not at all.
No, but don't even try it.
Oh my God. Go
uh,
ahead. What's
I was gonna say, so yeah, we've been covering it, right? Weaponized means used to harm, not heal. Uh,
yeah,
I think about
there you go.
control. I think about yeah, it's control instead of care. It's silencing valid emotions, valid experiences. Grief might be called depression. Anger might be called oppositional or aggressive. Uh, Spirituality, our spirituality could be deemed delusion. Um,
Mm.
it's double standards. Um, it's barriers to healing. You know, if you're misdiagnosed, that means that you're not getting the proper treatment, but you're getting the wrong treatment, which could be the right treatment,
Mm.
but for a certain other entity. Um, and yeah, just to summarize, even therapy becomes like a source of trauma in a sense. You can be traumatized by therapy because it screwed you over so bad. You trusted this mental health professional, not realizing that they were part of the system, they were part of the oppression, and it was just so passive. It's not even the aggressive in your face kind. It's just so it seems a little bit more sinister that way. It's just like, dang, like you had me really let my guard down just for you to silently strike and paralyze me. Next question. What's the difference between pain? Oh, guy level.
I'm sorry. I'm sharing. My first therapist was white and there was no connection.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I was talking to this white woman and then it just hit me like 2 or 3 sessions in. She has no idea of the Black experience. Why am I talking to her?
Incompatibility, though. You could also just chalk it up to incompatibility. It's like, hey, I see what you got, but it ain't for me.
Yeah. And then on top of that, she was missing a front tooth, so I really couldn't focus. I'm sorry.
It's over that. There is a story.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't know if you were done. Go ahead.
No, I'm done.
Sorry, go ahead, God level. Okay. There is a story. There's a book. I have it. It's on my shelf. I'll share afterwards, right? Of this young Black woman who trusted her very first mental health practitioner, and they basically like manipulated the shit out of them for the first like 4 or 5 years. We're talking about 4 or 5 years. I heard somewhere that someone asked me a question. In fact, a therapist that I used to have, they said, who's the most manipulative person that you could possibly think of in any professions? And they were like, it's a therapist, because a therapist can literally, if they're not healed themselves, they can literally like manipulate and enmesh with you. And this was a white therapist who said that, like they were like enmeshed with this young person because they wanted, and it was a Black woman, wanted to control their mind, wanted to try to like shape their mind so that they would be more accepting of the institution. You know what I'm saying? Basically accept. Yeah, it was deep. I'll get the book. It's on my shelf. And I was just like, see, and people really don't think. You said it though, John. You said it. You was like, man, this can come up too. about how therapy can be like literally
You said that.
people are looking for healing, and you can take somebody who is unhealed themselves and they're like, oh, I'm just going to go ahead and manipulate this person and tell them, oh, your racial injustice that you're feeling over there, yeah, I'm going to minimize it. I'm going to minimize the fuck out of it. You know what I'm saying? To make so that way I'm still controlling the community in some type of way, shape, and form. Man, you're right. We need more practitioners. Okay, I'm gonna be quiet now. I'm gonna go on mute.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, it's just we're describing something here, right? We're just trying to figure out. It's not like it's this sinister thing that's happening in the schools, and you everyone that applies through school, they have their own biases, culture included. So you take someone from a different culture and you mesh them in with another culture, like there may or may not be any respect for that individual's culture and how they express themselves. You know, if healing to me may not look the same to them. So who am I to impose, right? I have best practices over here, but that's based off of a certain demographic, you know? It's like, again, if we get healed over here, let's just say we ate apples, let's just say magically, somehow, scientifically, metaphysically, apples cured us all, but over here grapes did. This is all you know. You done test on this. You haven't tried out apples. And so yeah, you come over here and it's a culture shock. You're like, what the apples? Apples? Here's a grape. Try it. Just try it. Just try it. Just try it. You have to try it. Just at least try it. Right? You coming over here with your grapes, I got apples over here, and you're minimizing my wisdom, my ancestral wisdom. You're minimizing my culture. It's not to say that yours is, ineffective, but we are looking for, some compatibility here. It's a collaboration. Now, these therapists are trained like that. They are trained with what's called a therapeutic alliance. I'm here to collaborate with you. If it don't feel like a collaboration, hey, maybe, you're a great therapist and I'm a great study, but yeah, we just don't fit. Then that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. You have a choice, but that's not taught. It's not taught that you have a choice, especially when it's public or state sanctioned healthcare, because they have a bottom line. They have a bottom line to me. Okay. Like they spending their money. They're going to be very strict about it. They got a bottom line. This is not privatized. This isn't, hey, I'm using my dollars to do. Nah, this ain't that. This is, you don't have any money. You can't afford therapy. This is what we're going to give you then. And you will take it. If you want the help, you will take this.
Yeah.
Options. You better take what we give you. That's the attitude. That's the attitude. If it's public, that's the attitude. If it's private, you get that extra cushioning care. You get, because you paid for this.
You do. You really do. And
it's a status. It's a status phenomenon.
Yeah.
It's a status, like you treat public amenities like it's low class, but you treat the privatized enterprises like the high class. It's status.
You sure do. Yeah.
What is the difference between pain and pathology, y'all?
Shit. I want to add to that before we move on. The best therapist I've had was a man. He was a man, and when I used to sit and talk with him, he would listen to understand. And then when he responded with the question, it made me stop in my tracks. Oh, them them the ones you want. Oof.
They get you right here.
Yes.
He made you figure it out, right? Because it's about you having ownership of your healing process, right?
Yes.
You having ownership. That's autonomy.
Yes.
That's our word, right?
Oh my
right,
God.
Ivy? That's our word. Autonomy.
Autonomy.
They make you work. They make you work. That's why you got homework, right? So they make you work for it.
Yes. He made me work for it, because it's a difference when someone else tells you versus when you figure it out for yourself.
Mm.
When you figure it out for yourself, it's like that light bulb goes off and you can feel it through and through, versus someone telling you, oh, you're just depressed, or just telling you anything, and you just like, oh, okay. But when you figure it out for yourself through a question that person asked you.
So one is easier than the other, right?
Yeah.
Like you can just tell, hey, just tell me what's wrong, doc. Just tell me what's wrong with me.
No, we don't want that. You want the questions. You want
fellas, we talked about this, didn't we?
Go ahead.
We had a conversation about this.
Me and you?
Very, very vividly. No, me and the fellas actually.
Oh, okay.
We had a little tongue foul. And I remember this is exactly how I started to think of things. And this was a new beginning for me. From this God level, you just told me my exact point of attack. I no longer want to convince, not so much, or try to tell you what I think is right. It's not what I want to do. What I want to do is analyze what you said. I want to study it. I don't want to bring it, and studying it, I have to answer it as well, and then bring you back a question to try to guide you towards guide you towards me. Because I may not be
like that.
There you go.
You did me like that. In the back room, when we were sitting down talking, he listened to everything I said and then came back with a question, and I was just sitting there like,
what you say to me?
And you know, I was, the delivery was so beautiful. It wasn't aggressive. It wasn't, and it just hit me. And all you can have in that moment is silence. That's it. There wasn't no talking. It was just like.
It's a beautiful strategy, though, right? Because essentially he went ahead, and the question was a calling, right? And you was like, okay, it was an invitation, though. That's what the question does. It invites you to be curious, and then you started walking. And then you found him there with the, like, oh, okay, so it was this way. Okay, dang, thanks.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm just looking
guidance.
For you. I got my sign right here.
Yeah.
Looking for you.
Yes.
Looking for you. Driving from this God level. Right. Driving from this God level.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
And y'all string me along just the same way.
Mm.
Go ahead, you burrow ahead, you go through all the thorns and the bushes, and if it's a dead end, you kind of go a different way, and you pull me.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God.
I love it.
I got some.
I was about to say we're not going to talk about pain and pathology.
In spite of what I say on TikTok, I got some damn good brothers in my fucks with y'all a long way.
I appreciate it.
I swear. Oh my God. Thank you. I take from you. I take from my brother, King Newborn. I take from John. Like, y'all don't even realize y'all be pouring and be pouring. Y'all. Okay, that's enough. Next question.
Well, it does take skill to turn the faucet. Do you think we need? It takes skill to turn the faucet. Do you think we need mental health diagnosis, or is there another way to make sense of our suffering? Now, I phrased it like that because essentially that's what the mental health label aims to accomplish.
By giving you a label.
Right? It's supposed to help us make sense. Because you got to think, right? You got to think, if you never heard of this stuff, how could you account for the behavior? How would you think about someone who can't sit still? Just think about, like, if it was 60 years ago, somebody that can't sit still, you see that, you're going to look at that strange. Or if you see that somebody chronically just can't get up, you're going to interpret that as, oh, this nigga just lazy. Right? Or, you're trying to perform, even with sex, and you can't. Performance anxiety, that happens, right? But it gets mislabeled, misunderstood, what does that do to people when you don't have a way to describe what they're going through? You don't have the language. It's like you have the experience, but you don't have the language to communicate to somebody, hey, this is what I'm going through. You're just going through it and there's no connection. So you feel alone. You need language. Labels are part of language. So on one hand, you're like, I need this label so I can know what I'm dealing with. But on the other hand, it's like, but dang, labels can be so constricting, so limiting. What do we do?
It was exactly what we were talking about before. No, go ahead. My bad.
So do you think we need mental health diagnoses, or is there another way to make sense of it?
So that could go two different ways. The reason why I'm saying that is because of the fact that so the label creates the community. It can, and that's the reason why I'm saying, I'm like, it's not so okay. So here's the thing: it's not so much the label itself; it's what happens once you get that box and that label. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is going to happen once you get that box and that label? Because, okay, somebody who was, I'm gonna speak for myself, as somebody who was late diagnosed with ADHD, right? Like, I had 30-something years of unexplained phenomena in my life that just didn't make sense. Why can't I do this? Why can't I do X, Y, and Z? Why do I do this when this happens? And it was just like, I had no language for it. I had no language for it except for externally. Oh, you're lazy, you're flighty, you're overexcited, you move too much, you move too little. Like, it was everything else. So I took in all of that stuff externally. Then when I finally found out my son had ADHD and therefore I had ADHD and I finally got diagnosed, it was like, and for me, it created that understanding and that community. So it's not so much of what the label is, it's what do you do after you have, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's what happens after you get it? What happens to the people around you? What happens to your inner view, to your outer view? Right? Because right now you can identify with others quickly by having a similar label, especially on social media. There has been 1,000,005 times I've explained here, and you guys see it if you actually look on my Facebook page. I'll be like, this is my experience as a Black woman with ADHD, and then somebody will inbox me, hey yo mom, you think I'm ADHD? Maybe. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is that it helps to get that stuff out in the open. That what happens is after. That's the stuff that can create suffering. Okay, I'm gonna be quiet now.
But you know what? There's something to that, right? Your motivation. So think about where you were when you didn't have it. Think about where you were when you didn't have it. Weren't there times where you felt alone? Weren't there times where you isolated yourself because you felt like you couldn't connect with people, like normal people? What does that do to your self-esteem?
Yeah, I mean, I still have those issues now, and I'm 48 something years old. Sometimes I isolate myself, and I'm just like, and now I can just attach something to it. You know, what'd you say?
48 where?
Girl, listen, it's in here. Trust me, it's in the kneecaps and everything else. But I'm just saying, sometimes I still get it. Sometimes it still happens now because I say to myself, oh man, if my brain worked differently, maybe I wouldn't have to go through this, or you know what I'm saying? But the thing is that I still, it lowers your self-esteem when you don't have a reason for it. When I took in all of this external stuff where I was just flighty, I was just, flaky, I was just chatty and everything else. So it definitely damages your self-esteem.
Because you think you're not normal. Yeah, because you think you're not normal. So when me and Ivy are on the phone, we can talk about 20 million things and come back to and then pick up on the very first topic that we talked about. We could be all over the place and still keep up. So yeah, it's a superpower. I don't care what nobody say. It's a superpower.
But it really just testifies to the uniqueness of that relationship, right? Yeah. Again, just thinking about your self-esteem. What is your social life like with ADHD, right? What is do you have anybody in your circle that you can truly confide in, that you truly trust when you have this disorder, because you know that normal adults kind of, have this stigma, this prejudice. It might be a little low key, right? But then
Mhm.
also you think about, all right, here it is. I have this. I need these social experiences because they help nurture my development, my growth. And
Mhm.
I might end up adapting my mental illness because I have these social experiences, right? So I need feedback. I need feedback. In order to get feedback, you got to
Ooh,
have friends and family.
ooh, I like what he just said. When people don't have a village, then what? Because
Isolation.
I was just getting ready to say, this is my tribe. I can come to Ivy. I can come to John. I can come to my brother. I can come to Sherman. I can literally put in a group text, is anybody available to be able to talk, because I trust them. So yeah, and you just don't. It takes a minute to meet your tribe.
It
Meeting your
does.
tribe is meeting you. When you are
And
ready to see.
no, I was just getting ready to say, I was like, something else that you mentioned, like the low self-esteem. We also need to talk about how people with mental health diagnoses, especially in marginalized communities, we deal with shame and guilt too. So a lot of
Mhm.
times, because of the fact that we have these diagnoses, it's like, oh, I don't want to tell everybody. I got the shame of that, So we're not even talking
Mm.
about like externally. We're not even talking about like how socially it just kind of sets you up, right? Just
Mhm.
like the shame and guilt from just from within yourself, and how you can just be like, I don't want to burden anybody with this shit. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, and that's real. I don't want to burden anybody
That
with me and my
is,
hamsters,
yeah,
you know? Yeah.
yeah.
So just putting that out there. Finding people like you. Oh, can we read it?
Oh, oh, oh,
So
oh, oh,
cute.
oh. Let's go
No,
back.
you
Finding
good.
people
Okay.
like you within the
Uh,
diagnosis can help you find support because there's a common baseline. And it's also about inspiration because you
yeah,
need to see positive stories of individuals with mental illness thriving, saying, "Yeah, I am diagnosed with this clinically, but look at how I am still living my life."
there you go.
You need those success stories. Next
Yeah,
generation, seeing individuals, seeing their ancestors. Like, oh, you had it and you still was able to live. You
there
were
you
still
go.
able to accomplish all that. Well, shoot, who needs to look at this fictional tale when I got a real one right here? It's
That's it.
inspiring to see people with mental illnesses thriving, and social media helps to leverage that, to
Hmm.
leverage those stories. Your channel, Inattentive Ivy, your channel, God Level, and
Mm,
these individuals discover, oh, wait, you gotta, what? And you're doing this?
yeah,
Like, how?
yeah. Mm, mm.
Very true.
Speak on it.
It,
Speak
very,
on
very
it.
true.
John, I concur. Okay.
Salute, salute. So,
So, okay.
fellas, do you think we need mental health diagnosis, or is there another way to make sense of our suffering?
Yeah, I do think we need mental health diagnosis, or at
Okay.
least, something, or some type of community that specializes in just that.
Mhm.
Because I mean, like I said, I'm doing a lot of learning. So me speaking from the patient standpoint, yeah, I would think comparisons are the best way. I mean, but if you don't have the definition of what you're even looking at, what do you compare it to? So this throws me for an absolute loop, because I think it has a lot to do with misdiagnoses in our communities, and then that becoming something that everybody else diagnoses and makes gossip or makes real. Because it's a this question throws me for a wild loop.
Mhm. King?
What you get?
uh, Sherman, that was a good point. I concur.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, a lot of the times it's trial and error. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Trial and error.
Learning
Mm-hmm.
from life experience.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. There's also
So
reflection though.
Yeah.
Talk therapy. Talk therapy. Sometimes to get to the trial and error, you need some self-reflection. So talk therapy, or really just almost any kind of therapy. But the idea, the goal is expressing that, making it visible to you so that you can take accountability for it. Because a lot of this stuff that's occurring with us is happening unconsciously. You can't take control, or you can't influence something that you're not, conscious of. I mean, you're already unaware that you're doing what you're doing until somebody gives you the feedback or your environment gives you the feedback. So, yeah. How much does cultural, but no. Let's not do that one. Let's do, how do we know when a diagnosis is a path to healing and when it's a form of harm? How do we know if it's going to the healing or if it's going to the harm?
I don't think you do.
Ooh.
No.
Say more. Say more.
Okay.
Like honestly, I 100% don't think you do, because you gotta trust the diagnosis, and you gotta trust the person that gave it to you, and then you gotta try to go down that path, but you may be too scared, because how long of a path is it till I become normal or a part of society again? What do I do at the beginning to really start? What do I do at the end when I'm done? I don't know. And I don't want to take so much medicine that I harm myself, and then I'm not going to do anything.
Okay.
I don't know.
Right. We just answered it. Feedback.
Yeah.
From the people that you're around. I tried. Yeah. Feedback. Yeah. Go ahead, Ivy. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, I'm like, the box. We've been talking about, like, how do you know if a diagnosis is a path to healing or if it's harm? What box did you put yourself in?
Yeah.
Did you get your diagnosis and did you put yourself automatically in a I'm fucked box? Or did you put yourself in a let me be curious box? You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So which box did you put yourself in?
I went from box to box till I found out I was in a box. Then I stepped outside of that box and found out I didn't quite have my tribe yet. But I do now. Took several boxes to learn, but I eventually hopped out.
Oof, there we go. What parts of you can you find difficult to accept? Are you going to be curious while you're figuring out what is hard for you to accept about yourself? Or are you going to be like, I am fucked because I have figured out this stuff about myself that's hard to accept?
We've talked about that, Ivy. The uncomfortable parts of yourself. That when you heal those, that leads you to greater healing when you are able to face that. Yeah. Oh my God. And it makes you feel uncomfortable at first, but man.
I was literally just talking about that one right before John hit live. Not even kidding, guys. Just my brain and the way that it works, I was beating shit out of myself. Like literally, how many minutes ago? And I might afterwards. And the thing is that it's still something that it's just because of the fact that you have diagnoses or whatever. It's like even the curiosity. Even with the curiosity, sometimes I can still put myself in that I'm fucked box, but then I take myself back out and I'm just like, nope, I just got to get curious. It might take me a day or so to get there, but I mean, it can be both, you know, when a diagnosis could be both. That like Sherman said, the path to healing, the path to harm is just where are we today? Where are we today? What are we accepting about ourselves today about that diagnosis?
Yes.
Come on, girl.
Come on now, Renee. Talk it, girl.
Renee and Renee. Talk that shit.
Yeah.
Talk that shit. Nah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Ivy has helped me get over a couple of little humps. I ain't like it. I was uncomfortable. Then I had to get curious. Okay, why does this make me uncomfortable? Okay, let me try to understand what the hell she's saying because I'm uncomfortable.
You have to. Man, you gotta get uncomfortable, man. I mean, especially because of the fact that in marginalized communities, we hold so much pain. We hold so much pain, man. And the problem is that when we want to just stick ourselves inside of a box, when people just want to stick us inside of the box, we really don't get to the healing unless we get curious enough to find out what's up under the damn box, man.
Yeah, what's outside the box? Get out the box.
Where's the pain coming from?
Yeah. Oh my God. Ooh. Right.
Oh.
What?
That makes sense.
Is that really the question we want to ask?
Man,
we want to ask, does it matter?
Look, what there is no right answer to this one, okay? The purpose of this one was just to get you to think about the structure here, okay? I want you to really consider, no, let me just serve this as a reminder, okay? A lot of what we experience in America is America specific, okay? It's America specific. That means we forget that other countries, they do things differently.
Man.
So it is a question of, hey, how many powerful people do you know come out and say, hey, my name is blank and I have... How often do you hear that story? And why don't you hear that story? You mean to tell me that all of these folks down here, all these people, we're talking about musicians, noteworthy figures, these individuals, they don't have this kind of power, but they're vocal about their mental health status, they're advocating. But then you see, other individuals that have a certain kind of power about them, and they're never vocal about their mental health status. It's just assumed. Yeah. It's just assumed. And you have to wonder, like, okay, again, is this a classist sort of phenomenon here? Is this by design? Like, why wouldn't you want to create that level of solidarity that, hey, yeah, I'm a little fucked up just like the rest of y'all, but it creates a sense of relatability. But maybe by design, you want to create this illusion of perfection.
Oh yeah. Perfect.
Like, oh, this person's so untouchable. You don't see any weakness. You know.
Yeah.
I literally have a friend who just admitted to me a few months ago that they have ADHD, and I was like, how come you never told anybody? They're like, I'm a judge, Ivy. If I tell somebody that I have ADHD and I'm a black woman, what is that going to do to me?
Oh, you are not competent. Oh, that's easy. That's an easy shot. Boom. You are not competent to perform your duties. Your judgment cannot be Ooh, it's one of those.
But I mean, but she's thorough though, boss. You know what I'm saying?
But that's discrimination, ain't it?
It is.
That's how it starts first. It starts with just that thought, that presumption, that prejudice, not knowing. But then you find out, and suddenly all these ideas, they're not even true. But all these ideas come to the forefront, and all of a sudden, this person, you're scrutinizing them, and you don't even know why.
Absolutely. And it's so hard. I mean, I've had a lot of people who have come to me and been like, keep talking about it because I identify, but I wish I could come out and say that I have, you know what I'm saying? If they self-identify or reveal that they've been diagnosed, then it can open the opportunity for others to be encouraged to come forward, or for them to project their insecurities to make sure no one finds out that they are diagnosed too. Come on. Because there we go right there. I mean, you get some people who are like, oh, I'm sorry. Let me be quiet. Go ahead. That is so true, though. Gosh.
Keep it going.
Oh, listen, I'm trying to because y'all know I talk a lot, so.
No, keep going.
No, it's just let's talk about projecting those insecurities. because that's huge. You know, you got people who are like they deal with depression. Man, I ain't going. Man, that motherfucker, he out here. You know what I'm saying? Talk about he depressed. I'm like he go to therapy. You know, bro,
Mm,
you probably are depressed, need to go to therapy. But why is it that you know what I'm saying? But they want to be like, oh, he's weak.
mm-hmm.
Is it he's weak? Is it she's weak?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like,
I don't see anything weak about taking your mental health serious.
man,
It takes strength to do that.
You know
Yeah.
what? That's kind of when I figured out that I stepped outside of the box. Because I started to understand that if you're even trying to hurt somebody else with any type of words, that's a part of it. Some type of trauma or some type of box that you can put yourself in. Because if you know enough about it, you don't want nobody else to feel like that. Just like John says a lot, it's a reflection. And if you realize that that ain't your reflection, that ain't your person, that ain't your tribe.
man,
Yeah, that's how I see it.
I think the strongest people are the ones who work on their mental health. The ones who just keep pushing. The ones who are like, I am unfuckwittable and I'm gonna keep on going to therapy. I'm gonna keep on doing the things. I'm like, even when I'm knocked down. You know what I'm saying? Because it takes strength to fight against yourself.
Yeah.
You
A whole
know?
bunch of it.
Oh my God. Thank you, Mr. Debonair.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. It's a form of counseling with my thoughts. Listen, step on in the room, bruh.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you. Make sure you subscribe, share, and like, subscribe, and
Yeah,
share.
he's been riding with us for a while.
Yeah,
Okay,
I've seen it.
yes.
Yeah, he's been riding
Oh
with
my
us for a while.
God. Thank you. That is
I love it.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh man. What we got? What we got next?
This is our last one. We'll make this
Okay.
our last one. So it's like, yeah. So what's the point of it all then, John? You know, what can we do about misdiagnoses and diagnoses, and what's the whole point of it all, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna kick this off. The crux, because it's just so much, right? There's levels to responding to this. The big one, it's gonna have to start with the individual, and then the individual, like these communities that we're forming. We're gonna be able to garner that support. We're gonna be able to politicize that one day. We haven't figured it out yet.
No.
But one day we're going to be able to politicize that support and say, hey, listen, this is what we want. Next election, it better be this. We want funding in this. We figured it out now. Just do this one fucking thing. It's real simple. Forget everything else. Just do this one thing. We've made it easy. We're going to reach that point one day. Right? But until then, this was ultimately about how we stigmatize with the mental health labels. It's oppressive, but also at the same time, it's helpful. We have a personal responsibility. We all bear this personal responsibility to not let the labels define who we are. You're supposed to use the labels temporarily to get yourself to healing. The label should be in conjunction to your adaptation, to your healing. If the label is limiting you in terms of who you choose to be, you need to redefine it. You need to give it a new meaning, maybe even a new name. I mean, you have nicknames. I mean, what's wrong with saying, yeah, hey, my name's John. You guys call it ADHD. I call it this. Like you're speaking two languages.
My superpower. Got you.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's about taking ownership of your condition. This is just the language. Ultimately, when you think about these diagnoses, this is about language. Language influences who we are. We need to be in tune with the language. What does this label say about who you are? And be clear about what that means for you. You can agree to some of it, but you're taking ownership in how you express it, manage it, and define it. That's what I got.
Beautiful.
Renee said it feels like it's her superpower. You better know it. And to Mr. Debonair, this is the month of May. We always talk about mental health in the month of May because it is Mental Health Awareness Month. Sometimes we spill over into June depending on the feedback. Next week we are definitely talking about anxiety. Next week after that, depression. And then we're going to end the month with suicide. I definitely want to visit suicide. Yes, ma'am, Renee, it's your superpower.
This is culture.
Superpower.
This
Yeah.
is culture, y'all. What do you believe? This is culture. Context of mental health. This is culture. We are part of the mental health culture. Congrats, y'all.
Absolutely.
Yay.
Congrats, y'all.
I just want to point out something too about the misdiagnoses and the diagnoses, right? Anything that you're doing that's involving the human psyche, the human mind, or thought processes, they're fallible, they're changeable. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they can fail because it's a mental process, right? So the thing that you can do about misdiagnosis and diagnoses, like John said, pretty much use them as a starting point. You know what I'm saying? Use them as like this is the jump off. This is what I need to learn about myself, and like it makes sense of your situation by looking at whatever the diagnoses or misdiagnoses is, and also understand that you have autonomy, which means you have choices. You know, you have choices to believe X, Y, and Z about yourself, and you have choices to be like, I need a second opinion. That's about either yourself or about somebody who's around you, who's in your care. So diagnoses and misdiagnoses, especially when it comes to the mind, they are what they are. How are you making the best of it?
Yeah.
Adaptation.
To see how far we've come. I want to give that something. Because there had to be a lot of lives lost with misdiagnoses or not even knowing what it is yet. And we just kept going with the trial and error. We kept going with the trial and error. And now look how far we've come, because we can identify most things now. But, culturally, sometimes it's weaponized against us to misdiagnose us on purpose. So we got to watch stuff like that. That's where it gets crazy, but it's still amazing to see how far we've come.
King Newborn, any final thoughts?
Oh no, this was a great show.
Yes, it was. Shout out to Ivy, Sherm, and John.
You as well.
Shout out to everybody. I'm like,
Exactly. King as well. Everybody.
Oh yeah, by the way, just real quick, mental illness and disability. Disability up higher, right?
Yeah.
A mental illness is a disability, but a disability is not a mental illness.
Ooh.
Mental illness is very specific, right? Dealing with them. Your disability can be physical, mental, emotional, financial. Disability can apply to a range of things, but a mental illness is very specific.
True. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfectly said.
Yeah.
All right.
It was. Thank you. Do we have anybody?
Anxiety
I'm
next
going to
week.
look that up. We will see you all. I want to thank everyone for jumping in on tonight's live. This is May is Mental Health Awareness Month. We are talking everything mental health, mental illness, diagnosis. As you can see, please don't forget to go over to the YouTube channel, God Level 102. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and share, because eventually we're going to be moving over there before the end of the year. Dang. Does anybody have anything? John, you got me?
Yeah.